everyone, I am Francina de Tapelocando and I will be the first reporter for this group, and we will about to talk about the new challenges to human adaptation and social change. So let's go on to Earth. I know, alam nyo naman kung yung Earth. Earth is our home and the third planet from the Sun, known to host life. And Earth is the fifth largest of the planets in the solar system. It's smaller than the four gas giants. And what are those? Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. But larger than the Earth, has a diameter of roughly 8,000 miles. You know guys, yung Earth is not actually round. The shape of an Earth is not actually round. Ano ba yung shape ng Earth? It is oblate spheroid. Bakit nga ba oblate spheroid? Because its spin causes it to be squashed at its poles and swollen at the equator. Next, we have the NASA, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. NASA is responsible for the civilian space program as well as aeronautics and space research. So, NASA is a private agency of the U.S. federal government, and they provides oversight of launch operations and countdown management for uncrewed NASA launches. They are responsible to find kung meron, they are also responsible na mag-find if meron bang if ever man na the Earth hay mag-disappear ron, hay sanda do NASA hay sa space ba sanda hay ga usoy it possible nga pwedeng maistaran it mga human kasi Earth malang do pwede nga istaran et mga tao kasi igto sa iba nga planeta hay uwa pa it parang matuod-tuod nga place or matuod-tuod gid nga mahambal naton nga pwede kita ka-star igto kanda. Yeah, that's why. Yeah. And the next we have the earthquake. So earthquake is any sudden shaking of the ground caused by the passage of seismic waves through Earth's rocks. So, ano nga ba yung seismic waves? Seismic waves are produced when some form of energy stored in Earth's crust is suddenly released, and usually when masses of rock straining against one another suddenly fracture and slip. So, there are, alam ko, na-discuss na to nung grade 10 sa science. So, there are 4, diba? Yung P-wave, S-wave, Rayleigh wave, at love wave. So, here, sa P-wave, yung parang straight lang siya. Sa expansion, yung compression, nagko-compress siya. Yung sa P-wave kasi, ang pag-intindihan, P-wave pa makaron. Tapos, the S-wave pa makara. The wave. Tapos, the Rayleigh wave, medyo ga pamakaraman imaw, pero ana nga pag-shake hay pa-round. Unlike sa S-wave, hay papamakarat imaw, pero sa Rayleigh hay pa-circle. And then, the love wave, hay uwa sa nagatabo, gahiwalay sanda, pag ganon. Kung sa P-wave, ay, tama ba? Pag dusang bata pa makara. Tapos sa P-wave, gata pa makara. Yan.
So, let's go on sa tsunami. A tsunami is a giant waves caused by earthquakes or volcanic eruptions under the sea. Tsunamis are often referred to as tidal waves. So, nangyayari yung tsunami guys if, for example, kakatapos lang it earthquake or may una nga may nagbuga nga bulkan ito sa idawpit tubi. So, syempre, hay ga-earthquake or may gaano, hayroan ng pressure baga, hay the water, ga, go form mo it magagko nga tubi, tapos paag ginabira rin mo paad to igto sa land. That's why, ga cause it tsunami.
And next, we're going to proceed to the next reporter.
Climate change. Climate change refers to long-term shifts in temperature and weather patterns or ang pagbabago ng klima at temperatura sa ating mundo. These shifts may be natural, but since the 18,000s, human activities have been the main driver of climate change, primarily due to the burning of fossil fuels such as coal, oil, and gas, which produces heat-trapping gases, and those gases released are what we call greenhouse gases. If hindi natin maagapan ng climate change or malesen ang effects nito, this may cause us hotter temperature, more severe storm, and may increase drought. And with these factors, it can directly harm animals, destroy the places they live, and wreak havoc on people's livelihood and communities. So what are the 5 causes of climate change? Burning coal, oil, and gas produces carbon dioxide and nitrous oxide. Sabi ko diba kanina, if we burn all these, it produces what we call greenhouse gases, and it's very harmful in our environment and Earth's atmosphere. Cutting down forest or deforestation. Deforestation can be defined as the large scale of removal of trees from forest or other lands for the facilitation of human activities. It causes desertification, soil erosion, fewer crops, flooding, and increased greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, increasing livestock farming. This can produce water pollution and ammonia emissions. It reduces biodiversity, often drastically in the case of aquatic ecosystems. Fertilizers containing nitrogen produce nitrous oxide emission. Nitrous oxide is emitted during agricultural, land use, and industrial activities, combustion of fossil fuels and solid waste, as well as during treatment of wastewater. The effects of this nitrous oxide is 300 times more potent than carbon dioxide, and it also depletes our ozone layer. Since it also has a shorter lifespan, reducing it could have a faster, significant impact on global warming. Fluorinated gases are emitted from equipment and products that use these gases. Fluorinated gases are powerful greenhouse gases with an even higher warming potent than carbon dioxide. They thus contribute greatly to climate change. The human fingerprint on greenhouse gases. Every day we generate greenhouse gases through interaction with factories, agriculture, and cars. Greenhouse gases are essential to make Earth a livable place, but as time goes by, nasasobrahan na yung pag-emit o paglabas natin ng greenhouse gases that it damages Earth and its atmosphere. So if we don't take actions, most likely masisira na talaga ang ating mundo billions, millions, thousands, or even 100 years from now.
Hello everyone, as of today, I will be your reporter from social change to the causes of social change. Social change. Collective behavior and social movements are just two of the forces driving social change, which is the change in society created through social movements as well as external factors like environmental shifts or technological innovations. Essentially, any disruptive shift in the status quo, be it intentional or random, human caused or natural, can lead to social change. When we say social change, it is the way of human interactions in relationships which is transforming the cultural and social institutions as the time passes by. When we hear the word change, it means pagbabago, di ba? And the social is or socialization is pakikipag-socialize natin sa iba. And the word social change is pagbabago it atong pakikipag-interact sa iba, which is either good cause or bad cause. If ibutan natin sa perspectives or sa ano it mga inunga as of now, di ba it is not a good cause kasi abo kanda nga, hindi ka nigo makipag-interact or makipag-socialize. That's why, andang nga na-divert, andang attention sa andang nga gadgets. Kasi, abo man sanda, tagmang ino nga man makaray, mostly may gadgets yon. But if ibutang natin sa perspectives, in mga introvert, it is a good cause for them. Why? Kasi hindi na kailangan i-practice lo anda nga paghambal sa mirror, di na kailangan mag-practice nga ni kung paano makipag-socialize, how to say hi or hello, do yan. Social change refers to the modification which takes place in the life pattern of people. It occurs because all societies are in a constant state of disequilibrium. And another example of social change is social movements in civil rights, women's rights, and LGBTQ plus rights, to name just a few. Relationships have changed, institutions have changed, and cultural norms have changed as a result of the social change movements. Why is social change important? Social change leads to increased awareness and more understanding due to the presence of more information in the community, which enables people to make informed decisions. Based on the scenario at hand, community social change entails transformative change, cultural change, and organizational change. Population growth can be spurred by social changes in place to allow people to grow. This growth can lead to the expansion of society, which can lead to the technological innovations, which lead to even more social change. Just like what I have said, social change can be either good or bad. There are changes that can help us know ourselves more and help us grow. But there are also changes that make us keep ourselves in our shells. Pwede ko galing abutangon niya example kara is sa pakikipag-socialize is the mga gossipers. Kasi dahil sa andang talent nga pagiging gossips is nakaka-gather sa that information and also nakakatao man sa that information. Causes of social change. Changes to technology, social institutions, population, and environment alone or some combination create change. Below, we will discuss how this acts as agents of social change and will examine real-world examples. We will focus on four agents of change that social scientists recognize: technology, social institutions, populations, and environment, which is going to be reported by Mabel.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. I'm Eva Regatali and I'll be explaining to you technology and social institutions. What is technology? Technology is the application of scientific knowledge to the practical aim of human life, or as it's sometimes phrased, the change of manipulation of the human environment. Some would say that improving technology has made our lives easier. In The World is Flat by Thomas Friedman, argues that technology is the driving force between globalization, while the other forces of social change play comparatively minor roles. He suggests that we view globalization as occurring in three distinct periods. But before we dive into that, I want to give a brief explanation about globalization. Globalization is the way that local or national ways of doing things become global. The example of this is trading of coffee. Coffee is said to be originally from Ethiopia and consumed in the Arabian region. Nonetheless, due to commercial trades after the 11th century, it is now a known globally consumed commodity. Now let's go back to the three distinct periods of globalization. First, globalization driven by military expansion, powered by horsepower and wind power. Second, shorter period with approximately 18,000 CE to 2000 CE consists of globalizing economy. Steam and rail power were guiding forces of social change and globalization. Last, post-millennial era. Period of globalization, change is driven by technology, particularly the internet. Now let's move on to social institution. A social institution consists of a group of people who come together for a common purpose. These institutions are part of a social order or society and they govern a behavior and expectations of an individual. Five major institutions in rural sociology are family, economics, religion, education, and state. State can also be called as political. Each change in a single social institution leads to a change in all social institutions. For example, the industrialization of society meant that there were no longer need for a large family to produce enough manual labor to run a farm. Further, new job opportunities were close proximity to urban centers, where living space is premium. The result is that the average family size shrunk significantly. One more example of this is when a family, which is a social institution, is closely connected to the education of another social institution. If schools are shut down due to the pandemic, the family would be greatly affected.
That's the end of my presentation, and I hope you still lend an ear to the next presenter.
Hello, I am Kira B. Mandal, and today I will be discussing about population and environment. To start things off, population is usually the total amount of people in a region or country. The people there typically have the same traits and characteristics, but they have different thoughts and emotions. In sociology and population geography, population refers to a group of human beings with predefined criteria in common. As I said before in the beginning, people in a population have common traits and characteristics, though they can also have similarities in genetics and or culture and race. In ecology, a population is a group of organisms of the same species who inhabit the same particular geographical area and are capable of interbreeding. Just like, for example, a pack of wild lions, they breed to furthermore expand their pack so they can easily hunt more for the whole pack. The area of the sexual population is the area where the interbreeding is possible between any pair within the area and more probable than crossbreeding with individuals from other areas. So, when people breed, they're most likely to breed with one another and less likely to breed with other people from, for example, foreign countries. But I think in this day of age, it's much more different. People very much more prefer foreigners. Well, this is true for some animals. They would prefer interbreeding rather than crossbreeding. For example, a zebra hybrid, they would go extinct if they crossbreeded with other animals, like animals that are close to extinction. If they crossbreed, what will come of it? Will there come a new species? But then how would that species survive if it's only just one? In genetics, a population is often defined as a set of organisms in which any pair of members can breed together. This means that they can regularly exchange gametes to produce normally fertile offspring. And such, a breeding group is also known, therefore, as a gametome. In ecology, the population of a certain species in a certain area can be estimated using the Lincoln Index. So, the Lincoln Index is a statistical measure used in several fields to estimate the number of cases that have not been observed cases. It is also known as the Lincoln-Peterson method, after C.G. Johannes Peterson, who was the first to use the related mark and recapture method. So, the mark and capture method is commonly used in ecology to estimate an animal's population size where it's impractical to count every individual. So, basically, mark and recapture method is where, for example, the people capture a certain amount of animals and they were to be counted, they will be marked, and each mark they place on an animal, they will count as how many there are. And then later, they will do the same thing again to try to estimate the number of animals in that population. Here is an example for the mark and recapture method.
Ready? Oh yeah, I know it's going. Cool. Okay, now we can pull back. Yep. Cool. All right.
Moving on to our next topic, the environment. Turning to human ecology, we know that individuals and the environment affect each other. As human populations move into more vulnerable areas, we see an increase in the number of people affected by natural disasters. And we see that human interactions with the environment increases the impact of those disasters. Part of this is simply the numbers. The more people there are on the planet, the more likely it is that some will be affected by a natural disaster. But it goes beyond that. Movement like 350.org describe how we have already seen 5 extinctions of massive amounts of life on the planet. The crisis of global change has put us on the verge of yet another. According to their website, the number 350 means climate safety. To preserve a livable planet, scientists tell us we must reduce the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere from its current level of 400 parts per million to below 350 ppm. So, I think we all know the environment, natural disasters that affect all of us, like tsunamis, tornadoes, earthquakes, and volcanoes erupting, and just natural disasters in general. And I think it's trying to say here that is we've survived, even though it has taken so many lives. We survived we survived 5 extinctions. Well, attempt to extinct us. But now the problem is the global warming, and we need to reduce it by doing all that we can to prevent the generation of carbon dioxide. Like we should prevent burning plastics or plastics in general, but plastics can be seen everywhere in the world. We've been using it for, I don't know, a very long time, and